relates to LinkedIn, because in my opinion, LinkedIn is definitely not a lead generation resource, but it is a great way to initiate and develop relationships with target markets. Do you agree?
Yeah, I 100% agree. First of all, I want to apologize for my microphone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but very softly. Maybe maybe everybody else can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is. Usually, if you're on the shows, you know I use this headset. And when we were getting prepped for the show, for some reason the headset didn't seem to be working. It seems like the mic is struggling a little bit. So Dan may have to carry the bulk of the show. I will use my big mouth if I have to speak up. So
yeah.
So I joined LinkedIn in 2008, and to tell you the truth, when I joined LinkedIn, I thought it was like a lead program type thing. I mean, I didn't really understand what it was. And then somebody one day told me that it's kind of like putting your resume out there. And that kind of hit home to me, because at the time I was moving around in my career, and I was editing my resume. And so I laid my resume down next to LinkedIn, and I started kind of following the resume format on it. But I made so many mistakes over the years with LinkedIn, it's not even funny. But LinkedIn is really about building relationships. It's about having a public place where people that might be in the niches you're looking for can check you out. I know the surveys right now say that 85% of business-to-business prospects go search on social media before they do business with somebody. So LinkedIn's a great place to do that, and it shortens the conversation while speeding the conversation up. It shortens the conversation because if you go to Dan's profile, if you go to my profile, you can see a little bit of the work that we do and kind of get a feel for us right before we talk. And I say it speeds the conversation up because by following people, I see the posts that they do, and we're going to talk about a lot of this today. I see the posts that they do. So when I reach out to them, I can actually comment on the last thing they just did.
Yeah.
Where could you buy a lead? Telemarket lead, direct mail lead, internet lead, any kind of lead you have. Even when you get a referral, the only thing you have to connect with in a referral is John gave me your number, right? Yeah. I mean, that's all you. But I can actually say to Dan, hey, I see that you golfed, and I'm sorry you got a bad score yesterday because he might have posted it.
Yeah, exactly. I remember a mentor I had, I can't think of his name right now. He was with New York Life, but one of the things that he taught me was always do some preliminary research on your prospect before you talk to them. And so LinkedIn is the ideal place to go. I mean, sometimes somebody's not on it, but as the survey that you showed me, Lloyd, clearly indicated that B2B people, especially, but a lot of people, if they don't see you on LinkedIn, if you don't have a profile or you don't have a complete profile, they discount you. They just dismiss you. You're not a professional. They don't want to deal with you. But if you do have a great profile, exactly like you said, I'll go there before I talk to somebody I've never met. And I can, I know what college they went to. I know, some personal things about them. I know what groups they follow. I see their employment history. I may go back and say, hey, I see that, you worked with, you were in corporate with Allianz back in the early 2000s. Do you know this guy or do you know that guy? Bring up some commonality. And you're absolutely right. That shortens the whole getting to know you and developing a likable relationship with somebody.
Yeah, and LinkedIn does a lot of the work for you because, for example, one of the things it shows you, and we're gonna show you here in a few minutes, we're gonna show you a checklist, and we'll go through that with it. But one of the things to show you, like if I go to Dan's profile right now, I can see the common connections that we have. So LinkedIn will tell me right under his name, it'll tell me that we have 12 common connections or 5 common connections.
Right.
And if I don't know Dan, but I have a relationship with one of those connections, I can ask one of those connections to connect me to Dan.
Exactly.
And they'll make the introduction. So yeah. They do a lot of work, a lot of groundwork for you. the other thing that happens that people don't realize is, like Dan's really big on LinkedIn. He's got I think 8,000 some odd connections and followers on LinkedIn. But what that means to me is someone that might want to seek him out for some type of business relationship is that if I connect with him or I follow him, everybody that follows him, if they look at his profile, will see what I posted.
Yeah.
So somebody I've never met that could be on the other side of the world, I post something, and because I'm following Dan, it shows up in his feed, and anyone that happens to look at him now or later during the day, they'll see that I posted something. And so a lot of times I get people that will make comments like I'll post something and get hundreds of views on it, and I'll go in and look at the people that are viewing them, and some of them are second and third connections. I'm not actually connected to them, but they're connected to somebody that I'm connected with.
Right. No, that's a really good point, because we talk about getting referrals all the time. And LinkedIn, actually, as you develop your network, you'll find that if there's something, someone you're looking for, you find somebody who's in your target market. And that's what I want to segue into that next. Someone who's in your target market, but you don't know them yet. You may find that, as Lloyd said, somebody you do know actually knows that person, and you can reach out to them. I mean, I could reach out to Lloyd, and I know he knows some big producers that we haven't worked with in the past, and I can say, hey, Lloyd, I see you know this guy. Would you mind, scheduling a call for the two of us and introduce us, or just an email or something? And of course, Lloyd would say yes. What a great referral! And this is to somebody I've targeted, don't know, but now I have a way to get introduced to them. So I think that these are just small indications that LinkedIn is a system that you need to get engaged in, that you need to be involved in. You need to work at it. And I don't mean work, it's not hard work, but it's something that I go to LinkedIn every day, at least once a day, and usually 3 or 4 times. And sometimes I'm posting, sometimes I'm reading other people's posts, sometimes I'm following up on notifications or messages that come through to me. But I'm going to turn this over to Lloyd in just a second. But what I wanted to make clear is this is not a lead generation system. Leads are people that have raised their hand and saying, I'm interested in talking to you about something now. LinkedIn is about finding the people in your target market. For example, if you are targeting pharmacists in the state of New York, and because you specialize, you understand their business, you understand their profession, and you've got, maybe you've got half a dozen or a dozen pharmacists, and you want to put yourself out as the insurance agent or the retirement specialist for pharmacists, you can do a search on LinkedIn and bring up all the pharmacists that are on LinkedIn in New York. So by location, by occupation or profession, and now that's a prospecting list, and it's free. It's right there in front of you. So having said that, Lloyd, what would you say is, I know you want to get to this checklist, and I think it's a great thing, but before we do that, what would you say about target marketing, finding your target market within LinkedIn?
Well, if I can tell just a brief story. I live 40 miles east of Atlanta. My office is in Atlanta. And a few years ago, we were using Windstream for our phone system and for our internet service for the office. And we had some issues with them. We had 25 phone numbers. We had a call center that we had shut down and moved on to other stuff. They were still billing us for all of 25 phone numbers, even though we had eliminated 10 of them. And we kept deducting them from the bill, and they eventually started sending us, dunning letters saying that we were behind. And I tried everything. Sent emails, I made phone calls. Anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty assertive about this kind of stuff. I tried everything, and I couldn't get anybody. I mean, I got up to the director level. I couldn't get anybody. I mean, they all promised to do something, but nobody did a damn thing. Yeah. So what I did, just on a fluke one night, I went into LinkedIn and I typed in Windstream in the search bar, and I'll be damned if I didn't have a first connection to the CEO of Windstream.
Wow.
And I sent him a message. And 2 days later, I got a phone call from his personal executive secretary asking me if I would email her the records of everything that happened.
Wow.
National sales director called me 2 days after that, and they had solved the problem.
Ah, wow. That's a good story.
So it's worth building relationships and building connections. Now, I probably wouldn't have got anywhere from him, just to be frank about it. If I only had like 200 connections, I probably wouldn't have got anywhere. If I was making snarky comments to people's posts,
Right.
I probably wouldn't have got anywhere if I was making political statements one way or the other online. But LinkedIn is a business platform, and I was always business and professional, and I had a large network. And I've had that happen with 2 or 3 different businesses that I've had trouble with over the years. So I've had carriers our company here, Health Mutual of Omaha, field test the e-app for Medicare supplement about 7 years ago. And they came to us because we had a large network of broker dealers that we could go out to and pick a core group of them and get them to help us. And we were in Facebook ads, and we were able to point out a lot of problems they had with their app. But we were able to do that because I have a big network. And so that's why it's worth taking that time to build your brand. And the thing I think ironic about it is that people will spend a fortune on Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. They'll spend a fortune on doing social media stuff. And how many people are on LinkedIn? Like hundreds of millions of people are on LinkedIn, and it's free. I mean, if you have the free account, now I use a Sales Navigator, which is about $800-900 a year. But if you have the free account, there's so many resources you can use to build connections with people. And so my counsel to you is start posting interesting, informative content that people would like to find out about. And if you're in our business, you have tons of that stuff. Every carrier sends you their surveys and their studies. May is Disability in Insurance Month. And I've had like 6 carriers send me stuff of statistics about disability in this country. Why wouldn't you just repost that kind of stuff out there?
Yeah.
So you can be seen as a subject matter expert.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about, I gave an example of a niche market that you can identify of pharmacists in New York. So can you give some other examples of maybe some of your coaching clients have used? We always know that some people, I work with doctors, or I work with attorneys, or I work with engineers or teachers or firemen or whatever it might be. How would you go about, if you were coaching me, how would you tell me to go about identifying my target market, my niche market, or at least one niche market? I mean, something might have 2 or 3, right?
Right.
But how would I go about identifying my niche market and then using LinkedIn to zero in on it?
I think the first thing I would have you do, just to shorten the learning curve, is I would have you go to the search bar on your homepage and type in the name of some practices. So it's not hard to, if that's your niche market, some practices. So type the name of some practices in there. Type the name of we'll call it lawyers. Let's take lawyers instead of doctors, and find lawyer groups on LinkedIn. And the reason you want to find lawyer groups is because that's where people are congregating. That's where your target market is congregating. And then ask to join that group. Some of the groups are kind of picky about it, and if you don't have a big connection or something related with it, they won't take you in there, but some of them will. And join 4 or 5 groups, and then start following the groups and see what kind of stuff they post, and start commenting on those posts. And the great thing about commenting, hey, that's a great point you made. I hadn't thought of that before. Here's a link to a story about so-and-so that sounds similar to that. And if you can get someone to reply back to it, then I go to their profile and I will send a connection request, and you always click add a note.
Yeah.
And then you add a note that says, hey, I think your post in the Lawyers Association group is really interesting. Thought we might connect here on LinkedIn. Stay safe, Lloyd.
Right.
Now, you want to be careful when you're building your network out that you don't do like 50 connection requests a day, because LinkedIn will shut you down.
Right.
But the more connections you get in that particular niche, the more people will connect with you because they see that you're part of that. But the real goal of it, like I'll tell you the people that I delete. The people I delete or I don't even connect with are the people that send me an invite, and they do this all the time. Like on my profile, it says something about me being a speaker, right? So I'll get people to say, hey, I see you're a speaker. I'm looking to grow my connection in the speaking business. I thought we would connect. And I go look at what they do. And what they do is they sell courses for speakers.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not connecting with you because what I learned over the years is as soon as I connect, I used to connect with them right away because I wanted to build my connections up. And then the minute, like 30 seconds after I connect with them, I get a sales pitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would try and educate them, hey, why don't you try and build a relationship before you try selling me something first?
That's a really good.
I just delete them.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Lloyd. I think that we need to. I don't see anybody asking to come into our queue, but I think a lot of our audience may be new to LinkedIn or maybe somewhat neophytes. So talk about not soliciting on LinkedIn. Don't be selling. That people don't want to be sold, and they certainly don't want advertisements all the time. So you don't want to get in there into a group or just even posting anything that looks like an ad for what you do. Am I right?
Yeah, let me type this in here. Because when I restarted my computer, that link in the private chat went away. So I just put it back up. If you want to come on live and ask a question, just click the link in the private chat and we'll bring you in here. Yeah. So, the real purpose of getting connections, my counsel to you, the real purpose of getting connection is to bring value. Like everything I try and everything I post is to try and bring value. And the value could be nothing more than, like I have a folder with, I don't know, probably 2,000 what I call funny pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just mimes that I've taken, I've copied off of somebody else's post. I'm not smart enough to make any of those things or talented enough. But, they're funny sayings by Morgan Freeman or, Muhammad Ali or, whatever. And I'll just post it once a day. And every one of them get, 100 or more views.
Right.
And what that does, and comments, yeah. And what that does is that LinkedIn's algorithm picks up that people are responding to my post, and so when I post something, they will bump up my posts.
Right.
And what I'm really trying to do is, like I write a newsletter every Friday. I wrote a newsletter today, and I talked about irrational beliefs. And some guy commented on it, and and people do this. They comment, hey, that was really good,
right?
And they want to tell about either their program or their belief or whatever. And so he commented on it, and I said, thank you. We're just human,
right?
And what I meant by we're just human is everybody screws up, stuff happens. And he commented back about, well, I feel like when you say we're human, you're kind of diminishing the power we have as humans.
What?
And I mean, I could tell you offline what I wanted to tell him.
Yeah. Right.
What I said is, my counsel to you is don't take offense where offense isn't meant.
Yeah.
Being offended is a choice.
Right.
We're all humans,
exactly.
we all make mistakes. We all want support. We all want validation.
Right.
Stay safe. Have a good day. Because LinkedIn is not a place to get like in a fight with something. This isn't about you being wrong and me being right.
Right.
This is about trying to bring value to the network. And I mean, this is 2022. It's stunning. It should be. If you're on this call today, it should be stunning to you that somebody in Boise, Idaho can do a post and have an emotional impact on somebody in Pakistan or Italy or South Africa, and you've never met them, and they comment back, hey, thank you, that's true. Or, I have people say, hey, one guy typed something about a divorce he went through.
Yeah.
In another country. I mean, this is little Lord Lofton.
Yeah.
Down here in little Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know. He doesn't know me from Adam. And
So,
you have an opportunity to make an impact.
yeah. So Lloyd, let's connect some dots here for the audience. We said that LinkedIn is not a lead generation resource. However, it is a great resource for developing relationships that lead to sales, correct? So sort of explain, and this might bring you to your checklist, explain how you make that transition from commenting on posts in your target market groups and posting your own ideas to your target market and your network and engaging with people. How does that ultimately lead? What are the practical steps? How does that lead to somebody reaching out to you or saying, hey, I think you can help me, maybe I need to buy something in layman's terms?
I equate it to an experience we all go through. Everybody has driven down the street and seen a billboard, right? And it's a funny billboard. Like I saw a billboard from a law firm and it had a picture of an insurance brand in the background. And this guy was reaching up and pulling money out of the brand, their money, and put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to stop and take a picture of that.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is kind of like a billboard. You have the opportunity for nothing to put your message out there. And the great thing about LinkedIn, like if you have LinkedIn set, so every time you make a change to your profile, all of your connections get notified that you made a change to your profile.
Right.
So imagine if you had to pay $600 or $700 for direct marketing, a direct mail program, into the zip codes that you're marketing to every time that you had a new message.
Yeah.
And all you got to go do is go in and change one word in one of the job descriptions you had, and LinkedIn will tell your whole connections, hey, he just changed something.
Yeah.
Like when I write the newsletter or post an article or a video or something like that, and I put it on my profile, everybody, all 30,000 some odd people get notified of it on there.
Yeah.
And then you can go into LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will show you how many people are interacted. I checked on that today. I had like 6,800 some odd people interact on average with my profile each week.
Wow.
So they give you the stats of it.
Yeah.
So think of LinkedIn and your profile. It's kind of like a billboard. And so you hear me say this all the time. So think of these three things. What do you want? What do you want people to feel when they come to your profile? What do you want them to do? And do you make it really easy to do it? So the biggest, Dan and I laugh about this all the time, the biggest mistake I see people making, if I go to your LinkedIn profile, do I have to hunt for a way to contact you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little box there that says more.
Right.
When I click it, I should see your name, your email address, and your phone number.
Right.
If I have to scroll down and search and look, or getemail.io, that's a service I use, getemail.io. If I have to use them to surf the profile to find your email address, unless you are promising to double my income in 24 hours with a 100% money back guarantee, I'm probably not going to take the time to look you up.
Yeah. Well, then, so this will maybe take us to the checklist, because people, when you're new and you might say something interesting in a post, and they might say, well, just like any other business person, let me check this guy out. Let me see what he's all about. And so they'll click on your face or they'll click on your name, and that'll open up your profile page. And so your profile page is like a mini website, and that's got to tell them who you are, what you do, and how they can contact you. And ideally, it would give them a call to action that appeals to them, so that they can reach out to you, either schedule an appointment or phone you or email you or subscribe to your service. Or tell us about this LinkedIn checklist.
Well, let me comment on something that you just said. I was doing this week with somebody, And that was, how do I start off a conversation? That's always the question agents and advisors ask all the time. When I'm making a call, how do I start off a conversation? Well, if I make a post, or you make a post, and I comment on your post about what a great post it was, what I got out of it, and you reply back, I'm not sure, but I think we just started a conversation.
Exactly.
I don't have to think about what to say to you.
Yeah.
You fed me what you're interested in, and I responded to it. And I can even say in there, you know, this is really interesting. Do you mind if I pick your brain? And if the person says, yeah, boom, I'm going to make a contact.
Yeah.
So this checklist goes through in a hierarchy of the kind of things that you should really have. The first thing that you notice here is a photo. And I'll tell you, I'll never accept a connection from anybody that doesn't have a photo.
I agree.
And the reason for that, I know this might sound silly, but the reason for that is if you don't care enough about how you present yourself to potential prospects to even put a damn picture up, I would never in a million years trust you to do business with you and have you do cycle completion and take care of details and care about my business if you don't even care about how you present yourself to somebody. So it's worth having a high quality professional photo. Now, you can have the background image. You have the photo that's round, and then you can have the dashboard picture of you. You can have that up there, but you don't need that up there. If you just have a good round, you just have a good profile picture, that's enough. But if you go to Canva, Canva, if you go to canva.com, on the left-hand side, you can do a free account with them. It doesn't cost anything. On the left-hand side, or maybe if you've been in there before, one of the options they'll have is LinkedIn, and you click on LinkedIn, and they've got templates, like hundreds of templates in there that are already pre-measured to fit, so you can upload it. And you can create your own in seconds.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, you can put your name, you can put your phone number.
What's the name of again? Tamba, T-A-M-B-A?
Canva, C-A-N-V-A, canva.com.
Canva.
Yeah.
Okay, Canva. So let's make, for anybody listening, you want to go there, Canva, C-A-N-V-A.com.
Canva.com, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
and
good.
And they've got all kind of templates in there. So they've got templates for Instagram, Facebook ads, and under Facebook ads, they've got all the different type of ads that you can run in Facebook. So just click on LinkedIn, and then you'll see that they've got the profile ones. They've got the picture one for just your picture. You can create it, and then you can download it. It doesn't cost anything. You can download it, and then you can upload it into LinkedIn and have a professional looking profile for nothing.
Nice.
Now, the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you capture your custom URL. So your URL on LinkedIn, like if you look at the last part of the URL on my LinkedIn profile, it says Lloyd Law.
Yeah.
So you want to get that for branding purposes.
Right. So how do you do that? Is that part of the profile setup?
If you go to edit your profile,
Mm-hmm.
on the top right-hand side, you'll see your URL right there, and you can click it, and there's an edit function, and you can edit it, and then you can change the last part of it. It won't let you change all of it, just the / and then where your name is.
Right.
Because some people use just the default that LinkedIn might use, which might be like J7946.
Right.
And just put your name in there, or the name of your business. I mean, I like to put the name in there, not the name of the business, because my philosophy is you are your brand, not your company. Your company promotes the products that you market, but you're actually your brand. And on LinkedIn, I think they're building a relationship with you. They're not building a relationship with the company, although they'll build a relationship with the company after they develop a relationship with you, in my opinion.
What's next?
And then you want to write a headline. So you see here, it says curiosity building headline that draws readers deeper into your profile. So when you're writing a headline, you've got about 120 characters that you can put in there. And it needs to be different than your job titles. So that, ideally, it's going to talk about, like I changed my profile headline probably 3 times a year. I did a book last year that got some good reviews. So I changed my profile and put the review of the book in there. You want to put a headline in there that tells people what you do or what they get from working with you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you type in the search box insurance agents, there's hundreds of thousands of insurance agents on there. So if you put your headline as insurance agent or financial advisor, then you're really not distinguishing yourself from LinkedIn's algorithms. And you're just going to be, it's like the email that you get at 8 in the morning, but you don't check your email till 11 o'clock in the morning. And that email at 8 in the morning is all the way down here, and you might not even see it for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
If you use the same terminology that every other person in your business, every other insurance agent or advisor out there is using, then it's going to be hard to distinguish you in there. So you want to use a headline that really kind of tells about what you do and what people get from you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that right now, because we've talked about this in the past. Using certain words, certain phrases will get people's attention. And using, there's 2 points to this. One is that if you use the same words and they're somewhat ambiguous or nebulous, and they're the same words that everybody else uses. If you're a State Farm agent and you just put a sign up in front of your office that says State Farm agent Dan Vignal, then everybody knows what a State Farm agent is. And then they just say, well, you're like every other State Farm agent. You just happen to be in my neighborhood or my office. Or that's the same thing if you put I'm an insurance broker, I'm a life insurance agent, or I'm a retirement insurance or a retirement specialist. You're just lumped into a category, and it doesn't really make an impression. Give me some examples. I'll give you one, and then you give me a couple that are really critical, so that when people come over and they see your name and they see your picture, and then they get that headline, and that headline immediately impresses them with what you can do for them. So the example I would give for an annuity guy is guaranteed lifetime retirement income, or something like that. Guaranteed lifetime retirement income. And it's interesting, I just read an article, and I'm digressing here for just a moment. The word guaranteed, they just did a survey with the life insurance companies, and I don't remember who it was, but they were telling them the key word that you have as insurance companies is guaranteed. And the insurance companies are so afraid of the SEC or the broker dealers or being sued, they refuse to use the word guaranteed. And I can't remember who the company was that was doing the survey, but they didn't have a dog in the fight. They were just saying, hey, you do offer guarantees. That's your business. That's what insurance is. And you people refuse to use the word. And yet we did the survey, and consumer says that's the most important word we want to hear.
Right.
So that's an example of what, if I was an annuity guy, I wouldn't say, hey, I'm the annuity guy, because most people doesn't mean anything to. And if you say I'm an annuity insurance or I'm a retirement insurance specialist, yeah, you and 2 million other guys, what could you say that would immediately get somebody's attention and let them know what you do, what you can do for them? Guaranteed lifetime retirement income. So using that as an example, do you have any other examples you might recommend for somebody in, Medicare or final expense or family life insurance or business insurance or pension plans or something like that?
Well, let me do this disclaimer first. There are, if you're an RIA or you are with a
broker dealer,
you've got a Series 6, 63, 7, then there are restrictions on what you can put on your LinkedIn profile, and you have to have it approved by compliance before you can do that. But to your point, I'll give you one. How about I help people bulletproof their retirement against inflation.
Yeah. But I mean, if you've only got 120 characters, that's probably around 120 characters.
Right. That's right at 120 characters. But,
yeah. You can even make it.
What do I want people to do when they read that? I want them to say, what does that mean? And look deeper into my profile. If I just put I'm an insurance agent, I help people protect their retirement. Well, like 9,999,000 other people do that too.
Yeah. Right.
So you can play around with that. One of the things you can do is you can go to Google AdWords and you can type in some of those phrases and find out what people are searching for.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to do it, because if you use terminology that people already use themselves, then you instantly are aligned with them. They instantly relate with you.
Yeah. Well, let's continue with your list here, because this is a good one.
So complete work and education history highlighting the value for the client. Now people do this all the time. They take their job description and they put that in there. And what I think you really want to do is you want to talk about the outcomes that you produced. So whatever job you've had in your history, instead of talking about what the duties were, talk about what your performance was and what the company or your clients got from working with you. So, you increased sales 200% in a region that was failing before you started. And you did it with the call center team by utilizing TV ads and training your staff to convert the phone calls. That gives a very clear description, which is different than I ran a call center for a 60-seat agency.
Right.
And then there's some train of thought out there that says don't put all of your work experience out there. And I didn't at first. But I decided I'm going to do that, because I think that everything that I did in getting to where I'm at today contributed and added value to who I am today. And ironically, some of the stuff I learned early in the game is still valuable today. So I went back, like I put in there that I started with John Hancock in 1977. So I've had some people look at my profile and, they say, you shouldn't go back that far. But, ironically, people will actually comment on that.
Yeah.
They'll comment on some of that stuff. So, I think you have to do what you're comfortable doing. If you really want to work on your LinkedIn profile, one of the things you can do is you can send out a survey and ask people to comment on your profile.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And
this is not what you're talking about. The profile, this is not a small thing. This is an incidental. This is how I get notifications every day that people reviewed my LinkedIn profile every day. So this is not something small. This is how people will assess whether you are of any value to them, whether they want to connect with you, whether they want to read your posts or follow you. So this is not a small thing. This checklist is critically important.
One of the things I tell agents and advisors, and again, like to your point, this sounds like a small thing, but let's say that you're a producer and you got the top 10 in your region and you had your national sales convention and you get called up on the stage. Before you go to that national sales convention, your broker dealer or your carrier or whatever the situation is, they send out a notice to the field. And it has the company logo on it, the company name on it. And somewhere down on that page, it has your name and it has you listed as top 10 agent or whatever it was. You can take a screenshot of that, just that part of it with the company name on it, and you can post that in your profile. And that gives you third-party credibility instantly that you've done something. If you write an article or you're quoted in some magazine, some industry-related magazine, I do this all the time because I write a lot of articles for magazine. I will go to that magazine's website and I'll go to where my article is, and in their header is the name of that magazine. or the name of that broker dealer, or if I give a talk somewhere, the name of that company, and I'll scroll down on the page to where they have the description of me, and I'll just do a screenshot of that. And so now I've got their logo, their company name, and I've got me. That company is promoting me. So you have that all the time. I've talked to agents that have given presentations at sales conventions. There's pictures of them on the stage. They do training in their own offices. There's pictures of them doing that. They never think to use that. That is valuable marketing material that you can use. And by posting that, and that's one of the things, if you look to the next thing, post media, that's one of the things LinkedIn lets you do, is it lets you post a hyperlink to articles. It lets you post pictures, and it lets you post media.
Right.
So you can post, if you're asked to talk in a way, like this is virtual learning right now, right? So we're doing virtual selling. If you're asked to talk in a training and you spend 5 minutes talking, tell them you want a clip of that, of just you talking. And then what happens is you've got, on the screen, you've got, maybe 10, 15 people around there, and the camera and the picture's you, and you're talking, and you post that video and you say, it was great providing a training on long-term care to the name of the agency.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, clients, other small businesses, they come out there and they go, well, this lady's active.
And he's an authority. He or she is an authority.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. Continue.
So let's talk for a minute about recommendations. I'll tell you that my advice about getting recommendations. Used to, I wouldn't ask for a recommendation. So I think I've got 81 recommendations. The first 60 recommendations I got, I didn't ask for them. What I did is I gave recommendations out. And so
explain to the audience what a recommendation is.
I'm sorry, it's not a recommendation. It is a recommendation. I call it a testimonial. The recommendations was when someone comments about working with you.
Right.
What value they got from working with you, what a good job you did, how much they liked working with you, that kind of thing. And so what I would do in the beginning, in the early days, what I would do is I would write a recommendation. And then if you posted the recommendation that I wrote for you, and usually what happens when you write somebody a recommendation and they post it, they'll send a note and say, thanks for the recommendation. And I would say, you bring a lot of value to people. Maybe you'll consider doing the same for me. And all of a sudden I'd get a recommendation.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, well, dang dog.
Yeah.
Now what I do is I will actually ask for a recommendation, but I tell people in advance. Like if I do a coaching with somebody or a training with somebody and they say, hey, this was really great, I really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. On my website, I do 15 minutes free all the time. So people will schedule free 15 minutes and I'll spend an hour with them. And at the end of it, thank you so much. That's really great. I feel like I should pay you something. I don't want any money for you, but you could go to LinkedIn and write me a recommendation.
No, nice.
So that's different than sending out like 15 requests to 15 different people. I always kind of felt like it's like begging. Like if people actually thought I brought value to them, they would do a recommendation. But most people that are on, or a large majority of people that are on LinkedIn, they don't really know how it works. So the reason they don't think about giving you a recommendation, they don't realize that they could do that.
Yeah.
And so my counsel to you is go give people recommendations, and then you can actually follow them. Like I give people about 45 days to post my recommendation to them, and then I'll go in and I'll remove the recommendation. Mm-hmm. But if after about 30 days they haven't posted my recommendation, I'll send them a message and say, hey, let me know if you need me to change anything in the recommendation I sent you. And all of a sudden, boom, I'll get notice that they posted my recommendation.
Yeah. I think, Lloyd, all of the things you're discussing here I think it's really germane to the fundamental concept of social media, and specifically LinkedIn, is that this is an interactive resource. You get out of it what you put into it. It is a place, think of it like a business mixer. a cocktail party where you go and you meet people you've never met before in a social environment. You're introduced to some people, you meet some people casually, you have some good conversations, you maybe trade some business cards. That's what LinkedIn is. It's not a place where you just gather leads, but it's a place where you begin to develop relationships. And if that's the way you do business, if you are looking to build I don't even say a network. At WebPres, we call it your contact list. And it's essentially, that's your inventory. We say you want to have at least 500 to 1,000 people that you know and that know you. And you drip market on them, whether you use our system or some other system, you want to drip market. Well, in LinkedIn, you're at a higher level. You're at a larger funnel. You can literally have thousands of people in there and gradually expose yourself to them, expose your message, expose what you do and how you do it through daily posts and commenting on other people's posts. So it's just like that business mixer where you're having a glass of wine and you're talking to people, meeting people, and exchanging cards. But you need to be involved. If you're a wallflower or you're a hermit or you're a real introvert and you don't really want to talk to anybody, then you're probably better off just buying leads. You're still going to have to talk to somebody, but at least you're not going to be developing a relationship. And if you conduct your business as a transaction business, where all you want to do is sell and you don't want long-term relationships that buy different products from you over the course of a business career, over a lifetime, then LinkedIn is not for you. If you only want transactions, buy leads, close the lead, move on to something else. We don't recommend that. I would never teach that. I think it's a very shallow way to do business. I would never want to do business with someone like that. But if that's who you are, disregard LinkedIn. It's not your thing. But if you want to develop relationships, if you truly enjoy people, if you like people and you really want to help people, there's no better place to initiate dialogue and begin conversations than in social media. And in my opinion, LinkedIn is the best one.
Right. You use a phrase here that I think is really kind of critical, and that is social media, right?
Yeah.
But social media isn't social unless you are.
Exactly.
You have to be social. And I want to give everybody an opportunity. If you have a question about LinkedIn or your profile or something, if you want to type it in the chat box, we'll comment on it. If you want to go to the private chat and click the link, we'll bring you in to ask your question. And let me comment because we're getting down towards the end of the show. Let me comment on the endorsements. It takes, I want to comment on two things. It takes like 15 seconds to endorse people. All you do is go to the skill set that they have listed. I mean, they tell you what they want to be recognized for. That's the great thing about endorsements. You list the things that you're good at. And that's telling people, would you please tell the world that you think I'm good at this? And all you do is go click the plus button next to each one of them.
Yeah.
So I can endorse people, and it just takes seconds to do it. And the endorsement has a number. It'll tell you how many endorsements you have for for each thing. I think once you get 100 endorsements, it doesn't show how many you have over that. But it doesn't cost anything to endorse people. And the other thing that I'll tell you is when I talk about and Dan talks about interacting, it takes, like on my phone here, it takes like seconds for me to push the button that says congratulations on your birthday, your new job, or your promotion. And LinkedIn, and there's an argument to this. LinkedIn even has it pre-populated. It says congratulations on your work anniversary at the name of the company. I don't have to take that. I did a lot of training 2 or 3 years ago for this company for free. It was an association local here in Atlanta. I knew somebody on the board. They asked me if I'd come do it. Yeah, I'll come do it. And some guy in the room got kind of snippy with me and said, if I got a congratulations from somebody that wasn't personal, I would delete them. And I said to him, it doesn't sound like you're serious about growing your network, because here's what I'll tell you. And I think at the time I had like 25 or 28,000 followers. I said, I don't have time to sit down for the 50 or 75 a day that I get and write a personal message to everybody. So if I take the time out of my business and I take the time away from my family to take 15 minutes to go through my phone and click congratulations, then I'm letting you know that you matter enough to me to do that. And if your perception is that people aren't being personal with you, then LinkedIn might not be the right place for you. So, which you say, Dan, and I totally agree with that. So what I would tell you is the great thing about going to LinkedIn every morning and every evening is you'll see when you go to the activity, you'll see the list of people, and then it says, 3 people just got promoted, 3 people started a new job, 5 people have a birthday, and it takes like 5 seconds to just click the congratulations button. And what happened is those people will comment back to you. And then when I'm looking for somebody in a particular market, the first place I go to is the comment sections, the messages. I go to the messages and I type that industry in there. And all the people that thank me for saying, thanks for saying happy birthday, promotion, that kind of stuff, those are the people I reach out to first, because that they already know that I consider them important enough to take the time out of my day to say congratulations on your promotion.
Yeah. Let me just, I know we're wrapping up here, but I want to comment on something you said there about when you can see that somebody's, particularly if somebody's changed jobs or they've just gotten a promotion, those are often excellent, or they've gotten married, or they had a child, or whatever.
They just got their master's degree. They just graduated and got their master's degree. And
not only is it appropriate to just as a human being to reach out and say, hey, congratulations, that's a milestone, a benchmark, whatever. But it might also be an opportunity if they respond back and say, thanks. Just say, oftentimes when people start a new occupation or they go to a new business or they just get married or whatever it might be, those are times when it's a good idea to review their financial situation. And that's what I do. So, if that's something you'd like me to, and I think that you had mentioned how you and your call to action on your profile is, hey, I give a free 15-minute consultation. I've seen, free 30-minute, free 1 hour, a 1 hour consultation. But what you're doing is, and I get this all the time, you're inviting them to say, hey, it's not going to cost you anything. I'm just telling you, if, you're at this point in your life and you would like to kind of ask some questions or find out how, what I might say about your situation. I had 2 yesterday. 2 people asked me, they wanted me to review their business finances. And I said, sure. And they said, well, what's it cost? And I said, I'm not going to charge anything for it. Let's talk about what you're at. I don't know if I can help you, if I just be a sounding board. Anyway, my point is that when you comment on some milestone in somebody's life, it's a great opportunity to then introduce your free offer to consult with them. And I think that you can wrap it up here.
Yeah, and I think the headlines give you that. Like I saw in the news this afternoon, gas is $4.34 a gallon. Inflation's 8.5%. So if I saw somebody that just started a new job, a lot of my clients are concerned about the gas being $2 more a gallon today than it was a year ago, and 8.5% inflation rate. I help people protect their money so they don't lose money to inflation. Is that something you'd be interested in talking about?
Yeah, right. Good.
And you use the headlines, you use the things that people are concerned about anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up this show for this week.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Remember, you're a highly trained licensed professional. You deserve to succeed. It's okay to make mistakes. The most important thing you can do tomorrow is get up, start over again. We'll talk to you next Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Take care.
Thanks, Lloyd. Have a good weekend.